Technologies for genetically modified foods offer dramatic promise for meeting some areas of greatest challenge for the 21st century. In Nigeria, it would be of great advantage to addressing the rising challenges of food security that a growing population has brought upon us. With dwindling land for crop rotation and in order to ensure maximum harvest yields, it is becoming imperative that Nigeria finds an alternative strategy to boost food supply. And genetically modified foods provide this alternative. Yet, the greatest opposition to genetically modified foods center around controversies and public concern surrounding this class of food and its effects on human and environmental safety. Glad you could join us once again on the program AGRIBIOTEC, where we talk about biotechnology and agriculture. I am Lara Afolayan. On this episode of AGRIBIOTEC, we take a look at health issues surrounding the use of genetic modification for food production in Nigeria. On In Focus, we shall be assessing the health issues raised concerning GM foods. The president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Mike Ogirima, will also be speaking to us on Biochart, sharing his perspective on this issue and more. And not to forget messages and mails from our esteemed viewers around the world wanting to know more about the GM technology. We will be providing answers to your email inquiries on the GM technology and agriculture as best as we can. Now, a lot has been happening in the global world of biotechnology. In the last 1 week, they range from scientists saying genetic engineering offers solutions to Africa's environmental problems to an Indian university's insect-resistant GM BT cotton ready for field trials. Let's see these stories and more on what's new. Nigerian scientists say biotechnology is one of the technologies that could help the country solve some of its most pressing environmental problems. They say the technology, if rightly applied, holds enormous potentials for environmental conservation. They also add that it can make immense contribution to combating climate change by reducing the environmental impact of productive agriculture. In Ghana, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research of the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute has discovered 3 new varieties of the orange flesh sweet potato. Scientists at the institute, with support from the International Potato Center, conducted trials of the plant breed in parts of the 3 regions in the north of the country. About 600 farmers were involved in assessment of the crop during the research, which was to establish benefits of the enhanced sweet potato from the traditional breed that farmers use. And in India, the BT cotton variety developed by the Punjab Agricultural University in the country is ready for trials. This variety took the institution 10 years to develop and has resistance against the bollworm. The genetically modified variety will go for trials on over 3,000 acres of land, and the university hopes its field trials will bring better results than previous varieties. Welcome back. One of the clear advantages of modifying the DNA system of food crops is that it enables them grow bigger and faster than food crops that are grown traditionally. This ensures increased productivity, which provides the population with more food. Moreover, these foods are a boost in places which experience frequent droughts or where the soil is incompetent for agriculture. Reports say that genetically modified crops are grown on millions of hectares of land in 29 countries and even imported by countries that do not grow them. But those who object to the consumption of genetically modified foods raise fears about its adverse effects on human health through transfer of antibiotic resistance, toxicity, or allergic reactions. We take a look at these issues on our In Focus segment with a view to finding scientific solutions to them. Genetic modification could improve the nutritional value of food and is seen as a key element in reducing global rates of malnutrition. The golden rice, for example, is enhanced with beta-carotene, and this makes it provide a dose of vitamin A, which is a nutrient lacking in many of the world's diets. About 700,000 children die annually as a result of vitamin A deficiency, and so this explains why genetically modified golden rice is critical to reducing malnutrition.
The issue of saying it can cause, autism, can cause, cancer is just a conjecture. It's not substantiated, and we don't really know what causes cancer. Some people just, by drinking too much water, we could probably even have some form of cancer. But the issue, the biggest problem we have has been the chemicals. DDT has been banned for a long time because it bioaccumulates. It accumulates in the plant that we use it to protect, and also it then bioaccumulates in the humans who consume them, and then goes into our liver and kidney, and then can cause cancer and cirrhosis of our liver. These are evident and they are there. But the case of GMO, because it has been consumed now in the US for the past more than 20 years, and they have compared different populations of people who are consuming GMO with those that are not, and there's no significant difference.
Nigerian scientists to promote genetic modification technology for food say reports from over 1,000 studies from between 2003 to 2013 shows no human or environmental dangers from genetically engineered crops. They maintain that scientific research conducted thus far has not detected any significant hazard directly connected with the use of GM crops.
I always laugh when we raise these issues of concerns. There's nothing that has no problems. Even if you drink too much water, it's also a problem. So it's normal for everybody to be concerned about things you do not know. But I also believe that if we are well informed, those concerns will be limited. The legislation has made that anybody can say anything anywhere, and it goes to another place and people accept it hook, line and sinker. They have many of these so-called concerns that are not factual, but because some people out there want to create name, they put up these things. I can as well today decide that GM technology causes people to have triplets, and of course I'm sure that there will be somebody out there that will buy it, but it does not mean that that's true. It does not follow scientific norms.
A report released by the European Commission on a meta-study of 50 projects indicates the use of biotechnology or genetically engineered plants does not imply higher risk than classical breeding methods or technologies.
Academics have proven that this technology is safe, and there is no scientific research results that anywhere in the world that have proven that the safety of this technology is questionable.
For example, in Nigeria, there's no GMO yet in Nigeria, but cancer is on the rampage, which means there's something else causing cancer. So it's not GMO that is responsible for any of these.
Those who criticize this technology argue that it does not necessarily have higher yields than traditional varieties. They also say consumption of genetically produced food could be harmful to human health.
As for the current crops that are grown around the United States, there have been, around the world, the current crops that are being grown by farmers in countries around the world, both in Africa and Europe, the United States, South America, that there are no health risks from those crops.
Genetically modified crops are resistant to pests, which means farmers will use less chemicals for pest control. Some scientists feel this explains why genetically modified food are being painted as unhealthy. They blame it on fears that it could affect sales of agrochemicals, hence the continuous attack on the technology.
There are people who do not understand exactly what it is, and so far it is something new. Some people will antagonize it. And if it also has to affect some people in one way or the other. For instance, practically I go to the field, and most times farmers practically spray close to 10 times or even more insecticide sprays. And if you now bring up a technology that will reduce that spray from, let's say, 10 times to 2 times, what will happen to those who depend on those spray for their livelihood? They will not be happy with it. So people have different motives, but the most important thing is that farmers who grow these crops, who are in the field, who know what they go through, accept it, and they are always very happy with it.
The technology's promoters in Nigeria maintain that the use of biotechnology for agriculture will result not just in increased access to food, but productivity and health.
GM products are the safest. They are safest because of the rigorous process involved in evaluating them and screening them before they are released for human consumption. Other products are not really, nobody takes too much time to study them, and meanwhile they could have some, some mycotoxins, some allergens, but this is well studied to ensure that those things are really not there.
Regulatory agencies and organizations that study food safety, including the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the American Medical Association, the World Health Organization, Health Canada, U.S. Department of Agriculture, the National Academy of Sciences, and the National Biosafety Management Agency have found genetically modified foods ingredients safe with no side effects associated with their use. Scientists there addressing health safety questions that arise when genetic modification of food is concerned. We take a quick break and the program continues shortly.
Did you know that genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are safe and do not pose any risk, hazard or danger to human, animal and the environment? Neither do they cause cancer, infertility, sterility, tumor or any adversity. There is safe use of GMO drugs like insulin, vaccine, rapid diagnostic test kits for malaria, HIV, hepatitis and so on. The safety of GMOs is certified by the World Health Organization, WHO, Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, the National Academies of Science globally, the Royal Society, UK, and over 110 prize Nobel laureates. GMOs are safe, effective, and certified by NBMA in Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by the Nigeria chapter of the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, OFAB, supported by the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA.
The president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Mike Ogirima, is one Nigerian that holds strong views about genetic modification of food. AGRIBIOTEC chats with him as he bears his mind on what he thinks about biotechnology, its implication for food production and public perception of GM foods. What is your take on genetic modification for food production?
My take on genetic modification of food or organisms generally is that it is a technology that has brought in missing genetic qualities of one organism and embedded into an anticipated product to get an added value and quality. Of course, my take on it is, as a scientist, it's positive. Positive in the sense that the product can be used as research tools to gain more. Of course, you could understand the cloning of animals. I think when the spiritualists will say we are equating ourselves as scientists with God, I don't see it in that reason. Because cloning has brought up so many things. And cloning is a version of GMO. Okay? And it has brought up some insight into diseases. Of course, there are people who think there will be some disasters. Researchers have not proved that. If there will be disasters, we need more researchers. But the way we are speaking today, particularly with edible food, it has brought in some advantages, particularly in starvation, in poverty-stricken areas of the world. Food are made easily available. This food resists pesticides or pests. So genetically bringing substances or genes that resist pests is a natural way, a more scientific way of resisting pests. They are pesticides on their own. And I think we should encourage it as long as researchers have cleared some doubts.
Okay, now, how safe are they for human consumption, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, they are still safe based on the current findings from research laboratories. But it's an ongoing, science is dynamic. Maybe tomorrow some folks from somewhere can bring out evidence-based scientific studies. And as scientists, we are bound to infer that on our localities.
Okay, now there's a reduction in pest control mechanisms like insecticides and herbicides where this type of crops are concerned. Now, if you are beginning to see the fewer use of chemicals in, in crop production, what does this mean for human health?
It is good because such chemicals or pesticides have their own various side effects. If they are cyanide-containing substance or sulfur-containing substance, they cause more toxins to the body.
Okay, now I know in Nigeria there's so much concern, about this technology and human health. Now, why do you think those concerns are this much, and what can be done to address the situation?
The level of literacy. We need to educate the masses. Of course, in the village, when we grow, if I still go back to the village today, my mother will not eat poultry, this agriculture, they call it agriculture product. All this chicken, very soft, cartilage is too soft. They prefer the local chicken. So in the mindset, we need to educate our people that whether you eat the poultry chicken or the local chicken, it is not the toughness of the flesh that matters. It is the quantity of the ingredients that add value to your health that matters. So I think education, education, education.
Okay, now have you consumed GMO foods before?
Me?
Yes.
Sure. I travel a lot, so I don't know I can't differentiate which one is GMO, which one is not GMO, but I like banana, for example. And the bananas we eat outside the country are quite different from the so-called natural ones. The natural ones here spoil, easily. But those ones, they remain fresh, even for months on your table. So I have consumed.
Okay, so if I offer you GM food for lunch now, you will gladly consume it?
Sure. Will I know the difference between GMO or not GMO? I've told you, we'll be taking sweet corn. Have you grown any corn that is sweet naturally, except a fresh corn? Those days we go to farm. Yes, when you harvest corn, they are sweeter. But when it becomes stale overnight, you can't get that sweetness again. I'm sure they must have used such technology to say that, okay, the sweet corn, those things that make the corn become stale overnight, those qualities should be embedded in the corn, not becoming stale for months. And that's why you have sweet corn, you mix with fried rice and all those stuff.
Okay, now how well do you think this technology can help solve Nigeria's food security problems?
Oh, very far. Because for some of our products that we don't get enough, we need to improve on the quality, and it can even give us some added quantity if we promote the biotechnology. Okay, the technology is relatively new in Nigeria. What is your take on how Nigeria could make the most of it? Well, the government should pump in more funds. Let's get their product, our local product that has been researched on. Let's see them given to either the farmers and to produce more. Particularly in situations where you have droughts, let's get seeds that can plant today and within 1 month harvest them. It's possible. Particularly when we are thinking about stopping importation of rice. So we should be able to produce our rice locally, genetically modified, to tarry with our number of months of rainfall and to have the suitable agricultural environment to produce them. With what you've said so far, will it be right to say that you're endorsing this technology? I will endorse it. I mean, I'm a scientist, I will endorse it. Okay. So what is your final take on this technology? Good technology can solve so many problems, starvation, malnutrition, and even case for taste. So thank you very much. You're welcome. For joining us on the program. Thank you. And I've been speaking with the president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Mike Ogirima, on the genetically modified technology, and he endorsed it, saying that it's safe for human health. And at this point, we'll be looking at some facts about the GM technology and human health. Stay with us. Our viewers out there, thanks so much for the positive feedback. If Father Jacob sent in a message from Germany, you say you are pleased to know about the program. You say last week's episode on the BT Cowpea project broadened your understanding of the variety. You were also enlightened on genetic modifications resistance to the armyworm. Thank you very much, Jacob. Edward, I say thank you also for your message. You think the BT Cowpea innovation is great and wish the promoters all the best on this wonderful project. Thank you. Tijani Usman Mustafa, thanks for your mail as well. You watched the episode on the Maruka resistant cowpea variety. You think it's economical and environmentally friendly. You are a cowpea farmer looking for good seeds from a reliable source and would like to know how you can get these improved seeds. I have a reply to your email from the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, OFAB, Nigeria.
the mails come in, and we will be glad to provide you with answers to your questions on biotechnology and agriculture. The email address as shown on your screen is agribiotech1@yahoo.com. You could alternatively tweet your questions at agribiotech13 or post them as comments on our Facebook page, AgriBiotech on TVC. I am Lara Afolayo. See you next time.